Treatment Plan and Follow-Up. Welcome to the series of videos on TRU's mental health program. The previous videos in the series were Introduction to Mental Health, Identification of Patients, Access to Medical Care by the Mentally Ill. In this video, we will talk about the treatment plan and follow-up to ensure continued treatment. We also look at how we solve related issues to ensure that the mentally ill patient is on the path to rehabilitation. A typical treatment plan is divided into the following aspects. Patient registration. Once the patient has accessed TRU's services at a psychiatric clinic and taken home the prescribed medicines, the patient's name is registered for follow-up by the community mental health worker. Follow-up. Our community mental health worker visits the home of each patient at least once every month to see that the medicines are taken in the appropriate dosage daily at the prescribed time. They also encourage the patient's caregivers to bring the patient regularly to the clinic and continue their medical treatment without taking a break. Family counseling. The mental health worker talks to the patient's family at length to identify any obstacles or hindrance to treatment. Often, the patient's caregiver experiences significant stress due to the patient's condition. The mental health worker who is trained in the basics of support counseling tries to give comfort to the caregiver. Where required, the health worker encourages the caregiver to visit the TRU psychiatric clinic to receive counseling from a clinical psychologist. The mental health worker explains the patient's needs to family members regarding safe and clean environment in the living space of the patient at home, the patient's right to healthcare and therefore right to treatment for mental and general illnesses, the patient's need for proper and regular food intake, the patient's right against violence, meaning family members should avoid all kinds of verbal abuse and physical violence against the patient, even if the patient's behavior is provocative or improper. Family members are also asked to protect the patient from violence from outsiders. Patient's right to property. Benefits derived from the use of property should be available to the patient. These above rights are required by law, but in essential terms, the mental health worker visits the home of the patients and explains and appeals to family members about the importance of the patient's physical needs such as bathing, food, water, medication for general physical and mental illnesses, socialization with others, encouragement, and the need for a positive environment in the family and the neighborhood.
પછી મારા સિસ્ટર ને એ લોકો છે અને મારા વાઈફ ખાસ એ લોકોએ મને બહુ હેલ્પ કરી છે સમય સમય કેમ કે મારું વર્તન બહુ અસહ્ય થઈ જતું કે ગાળો કોઈ મારી સાથે ઊભું ના રહે ભલે અત્યારે જેટલો સિમ્પલ લાગે છે એટલો સિમ્પલ હતો નહીં અને બહુ ખરાબ વર્તન હતું કે જે હાથમાં આવે તો મારી દીધું એટલે એવામાં પણ મારા ફેમિલીએ સપોર્ટ કર્યો એટલે અમને બહુ આભાર માનું છું.
Goal setting for rehabilitation of patient. To resume the daily activities of life, including previous work roles and work expectations from the patients, the mental health worker takes family members into confidence. He sets goals for the patients to be achieved in specific time periods by positive efforts of the family members. The goals are set by breaking down each expectation into a series of simple steps. The family members are made to understand the importance of going slow in achieving results. The family is explained how to appreciate the patient's success in performing a task or goal. Similarly, the family understands that there should be no abuse or shouting at the patient if he or she is unable to perform. Giving attention to and approaching each patient individually while ensuring persistent compliance to the treatment plan are two of the most basic expectations from the patient's family members. Our community mental health worker helps family members to adhere to the treatment and recovery plan of their patient by personal follow-ups. Thus, a severely ill patient who was not able to function properly for one's social and productive roles in the community is put on the road to health by carefully effecting a rehabilitation plan and by reviewing the processes required at each and every step. Further efforts are made to integrate them into their own community.
It is important here to remember that these patients face stigma from their own community members, and so it is required that the integration steps must include an important component of general awareness about mental illnesses and its consequences. Secondly, after creating the awareness, it is important to make the community accept that this is also a chronic disease condition and which can be corrected by treatment.
અમને ખબર નથી કે આ મગજ માનસિક બીમારી છે, પણ એમને આ મારું રિઝલ્ટ મળ્યું એમના પછી મારા કાકાને લઈને ગયો, અત્યારે નોર્મલ છે, ખેતીનું કામ સારી રીતે કરે છે. પછી બાજુમાં અમારા ભાભી છે, એ લોકો પણ એટલા હેરાન થઈ ગયા હતા કે બહુ આમ ત્રાહિત થઈ ગયેલા કે હું કરું શું, બળવા ભૂવા દવાખાના હતી. એ લોકોને મેં સલાહ આપીને થઈ ગયા. અત્યારે એમનું બી લાઈફ નોર્મલ છે. તો મારી આંખો સામે 3 દાખલા એવા છે કે જેમને પરિણામ મળ્યું છે. બીજા લોકો, દરેક લોકો બહારનું ભૂવા બળવા આ તે કરવા કરતાં આ દવાખાનાની દવા લે અને એમનું સારવાર મેળવે છે.
Just like several other disease conditions like diabetes mellitus, heart conditions, kidney conditions, etc., this is also a chronic disease and it requires a long-term regular treatment for a patient. So if we are able to treat these patients successfully, then they can also live a completely normal life with the full socio-economic potential, and this is a very important aspect to achieve in any community for a patient who was left out from the active life.